Accessing peace. Existing without violence, with the ability to calmly resolve conflict. Downloading love. An overwhelming, deep, positive affection towards others. Activating liberty. Living your life as you see fit without infringing on the lives of others.
Welcome to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. I am your host, Darryl W. Perry, the Liberty Penguin, the Wombat, the uncut cocaine of libertarianism, and today is the day that I would normally be answering questions. However, I don't have any. But there was something that I mentioned on Monday that I said I'm going to make a note for myself and talk about this at a later date. And, well, unlike a lot of times when I say I'm going to make a note of something, I actually remembered to make a note of this particular topic. And, well, that's what I'm going to talk about. And before I delve into the topic, I want to mention that I have 3 different articles about the same thing. However, one of the headlines is accurate, and the other 2, well, they've kind of reversed the accuracy, if you will. Let me read the headlines before I jump into the articles. Headline number 1: Why intelligent people are happier spending time alone. Headline number 2 and 3: 6 reasons why people who spend time alone are more intelligent and have stronger personalities. Yeah, which one of those do you think is the accurate? And, well, since I said one is accurate, 2 are not, you should be able to use some deductive reasoning and see that headline number 1 is the correct headline. Now, it's not to say that headlines number 2 and 3 are necessarily false. However, it puts the conclusion before the cause, if that makes any sense. To give another example of, say, a story, and I'm taking an actual story and twisting the headline to show what a sensationalist headline would be on this, I decided to look up and see, what do elite marathoners eat? What is their diet like? And, well, there's a story here, and I'm not going to get the entire way into the story, but I'm going to read a couple of paragraphs where it says, what does an elite runner eat? For reference, a training plan includes running about 125 to 135 miles per week, running twice a day. And again, that's elite athletes. I am nowhere near that. So in a really heavy running month, I might hit 125 miles per month. Elite runners, they're doing that per week. Continuing on, usually 14 to 16 miles in the morning and 5 to 8 miles of easy running in the afternoon. The author says, as a reference, I'm 5'10", and at the time weighed between 135 to 140 pounds and generally burned between 33 to 3,500 calories per day. I wasn't trying to lose weight, so I erred on the side of consuming too many calories to make use or to ensure optimal recovery. Here are the 7 meals I would consume in a typical day. And I'm not going through these 7 meals. But a sensationalist headline would wind up turning this into saying, not elite runners eat 7 meals a day. No. Eating 7 meals a day will make you an elite runner. And I think anybody could see the error in that headline. Because, no, just because you eat 7 times a day doesn't mean you're automatically going to become an elite runner. Just like waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning isn't automatically going to make you a millionaire. And I know that there are some news stories out there, or news, and I'm using that in air quotes, saying, do these things and you'll be a millionaire. And then they take sort of some of the best practices of what very rich people wind up doing. So, no, just because you do those things doesn't mean that you are going to wind up being a millionaire. Eating 7 meals a day doesn't mean that you are going to become an elite athlete. It doesn't even mean that you're going to run a marathon. And just because you run a marathon doesn't mean that you're eating 7 meals a day. It's just this is what this one particular marathoner is doing. So let me wrap back around full circle. And that's not to say that there's not some good bits of information in Articles 2 and 3 that I mentioned that say 6 reasons why people who spend time alone are more intelligent and have stronger personalities. But again, they're putting the conclusion before the cause. They're trying to say that spending time alone makes you smarter, whereas the actual studies show the opposite. They show that smarter people tend to spend more time alone. It's not that people who spend time alone are necessarily smarter. Do you wind up seeing the difference there? So let me jump into the article here from the Epoch Times. They say, are you happier when you spend less time with people and more time working towards some type of a goal? According to a study on happiness that was published in 2016 in the British journal Psychology, that certainly seems to be the case for people who are more intelligent. And again, this not exactly the most up-to-date article because it did come out in June 2016, but that doesn't mean that the results of the study are invalid, just means that it's not from last week. I continue from a survey of 1,500 American adults aged 18 to 28. The researchers focused on just 2 social components that have always influenced human happiness: population density and how often they socialize with others. Through their research, they found that the more densely populated a participant's living circumstances were, the less satisfied they were with their lives, and the more frequently the participants interacted with close friends, the happier they were reported to be. Also, what's that? Intelligent people do wind up socializing? Yeah, you wouldn't get that from headlines 2 and 3, now would you? Stay tuned.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up in any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com. That's getcell411.com.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry, online at fppradio.com.
Welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. Continuing with the article here again, survey in 2016 of 15,000 Americans focused on 2 things that influence happiness: population density and how often participants socialized. Through the research, the researchers found that the more densely populated a participant's living circumstances were, the less satisfied they were with their lives, and the more frequently the participants interacted with close friends, the happier they reported to be. When intelligence was brought into the picture, the researchers discovered that the results were quite different. According to a report in the Washington Post on the study, population density affected participants or rather affected participants of average intelligence more than twice as much of those of higher intelligence. But what's perhaps more interesting is that those who were more intelligent also reported less overall life satisfaction when they spent more time socializing. Interesting, right? So let's go back here. Again, the people that lived in densely populated areas reported less happiness. However, people that said that they spent time with friends, more happiness. But when intelligence was factored into the equation, what they discovered was that the more intelligent people reported less satisfaction with life when they spent more time socializing. The article continues. Now, clearly, this is all based on averages. There certainly are a lot of intelligent people who love to spend more time socializing, and average people who prefer to spend their time alone. But the general trend is that people of average intelligence tend to be happier when they frequently spend time with others, while intelligent people are happier when they do just the opposite. The question is, why? Well, and before we continue with the article, let's just think for a moment that there are extroverts, those people that get energy from spending time around others. There are introverts, those who seem to feel the energy sucked out of them when they're spending time with others. There are ambiverts, meaning that the people, they have both introvert and extrovert tendencies. And then let's just say that there are times that somebody would much rather be working on some kind of a project, but their friends drag them out. No, Darryl, stop doing that. You're coming to hang out with us. But I really want to be doing this other thing. I've got work. No, you're coming to hang out. And so then you're not going to be happy hanging out because you don't want to be hanging out. And that's going to then cause you to be less happy hanging out. It's not that you don't like the people that you're hanging out with. It's just that you would rather be doing something else. And again, those are just a couple of the possible reasons. The article here continues. The way the human brain has, or actually hasn't, evolved since our ancestral days up until now likely has a lot to do with explaining the findings. Back when our ancestors thrived in tribes of about 150 or so on the African savanna, keeping close relationships was necessary for survival, which is why we're social creatures even today. These days, we live our lives quite differently. We thrive in huge cities, we communicate often via technology, and we work in an information age where knowledge is embraced. Our evolving brain and bodies haven't had enough time to catch up with this big lifestyle shift yet, but it seems as if those who are more intelligent appear to be able to adapt more effectively to modern life, meaning they're not as influenced by their ancestral roots quite as much as the average Joe. If you think about it, the trend makes sense. Highly intelligent people likely feel more naturally inclined to put their brain power to work by striving for bigger, longer-term goals. And that, of course, means less time spent socializing. People of average intelligence, on the other hand, may enjoy spending more time socializing because they're simply not as interested in pursuing the types of bigger goals that more intelligent people tend to pursue, like working towards a doctorate, writing a best-selling novel, coding an innovative new internet service, etc. So, again, it has a lot to do with what someone's goals are. If your goal is to just be happy, and yes, I realize that you can be intelligent and be happy, you can make a lot of money and be happy, etc., but for a lot of people, just working nonstop does not bring them happiness. Yeah, it might bring them money, but what's the saying? Yeah, that's right. Money can't buy happiness. But of course, as they say, being broke also doesn't buy happiness. So, there's got to be a, pardon the pun here, happy medium, to where you have that nice balance of work life, social life, etc. What are the three things? Money, personal time, work-life balance, something. There's a thing to where, there's the three switches, and I forget exactly what all of them are, but there's the little meme to where somebody's trying to click all three, and as soon as you click the third one of them or two of them go away. Continuing on, the research findings are interesting, but this doesn't mean that those who identify as intelligent members of society should hold themselves up in a cave and just work all the time. Most of us can probably agree that everyone needs to spend some amount of time nurturing their relationships to support their well-being in whatever way best suits them, regardless of how introverted or extroverted or what their intelligence level may naturally be. Again, interesting article here that looks, at sort of the cause and correlation, whereas, and again, not to say that there's not good information in these other articles, because otherwise I would not wind up referencing them, but they're looking at the things slightly different. Again, going back to the example that I gave earlier of the elite marathon runner that eats 7 meals a day. A clickbaity headline would say, eat 7 meals a day to become an elite marathon runner. No, you have to go out and start running to become a marathon runner. Eating 7 meals a day but not doing anything else isn't going to make you a marathon runner, just like secluding yourself in a room and not socializing isn't necessarily automatically going to mean that you're more intelligent, because, well, you might not be learning anything in that empty room.
During the 2013 Porcupine Freedom Festival, Davi Barker presented an idea for a renegade psychological experiment. Since then, he has refined his idea and put his plan and research into writing. He explains, "We aim to show the world beyond a shadow of a doubt that power corrupts absolutely and corrupt authority deserves no obedience." Authoritarian Sociopathy is available from Amazon.com, all major bookstores, and now available as an audiobook. You can support FPP Radio by shopping online. Whether you're looking for precious metals, bitcoins, or books, you'll find that and more at shop.fppradio.com. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates, like Namecheap, Spendabit, and Amazon at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. Or you can shop directly from FPP with Bitcoin in the Bitcoin store. That's shop.fppradio.com.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry. Online at fppradio.com.
Hey, welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. Online at fppradio.com. I am your host, Darryl W. Perry, the Liberty Penguin, the Wombat, the uncut cocaine of libertarianism. And, I want to tell you about some really smart people. And I don't necessarily know all of their names individually, but the people behind Zencash, they're smart. And what they have done is they've built an end-to-end encryption, or rather an end-to-end encrypted system, not an encryption system. That would be something slightly different. But they have this end-to-end encrypted system that uses zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. And with over 7,500 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed node systems of any cryptocurrencies and one of the most secure. Zencash is a platform for cryptocurrency and communication built by voluntarists for voluntarists. And they wrote the ideas of voluntary interaction into the white paper no less than half a dozen times. And the Zencash wallet is available for Linux, Mac, Windows, and Android devices. Learn more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com. And want to mention here very briefly that I just upgraded telephones and was able to recover my Zencash wallet on the new device using the recovery phrase. So make sure that if you have the Zencash wallet, or really any crypto wallet, you keep that recovery phrase somewhere so that you can find it easily if you wind up changing devices or losing an old one, which would then mean you'd get a new device, which is effectively changing just for different reasons other than I wanted to upgrade. Zencash.com. So let's jump into the article from the website EWAO, which stands for Earth, We Are One. And again, they have the sort of clickbaity headline, 6 reasons people who spend time alone are more intelligent and have stronger personalities. And again, they're taking, and they even reference the study, but they're taking the study and just sort of flipping it around backwards to come to slightly different conclusions. But number one, they say that more intelligent people who spend time alone are more confident. People who spend time alone tend to be difficult to wield influence over, partly because they have usually spent a significant amount of time contemplating their circumstances, options, and decisions ahead of time. What's more, it's also difficult to negatively impact the mood of these people. I don't know if the science really backs that up, because sometimes people are loners because they're depressed. And yes, just because somebody spends time or more of their time alone does not mean that they're necessarily a loner. But again, horse, cart, cause, correlation, backwards thing in this article. Number 2, they're productive. Loners seem to get more things done than more social individuals, and they also seem to be more productive in general. This could be because people who value alone time are able to separate themselves from other people's lives and drama and avoid countless distractions by doing so. This one, I will say that definitely spot on, because have you ever had one of those, and I know for a lot of people this is, asking you to go back in history 10, 15, 20, 25 years or more ago. But think about those group assignments that you had in high school or junior high. Just think about one of those for a second. Yeah, how often did the we're getting together to work on this group assignment just turn into people hanging out and not really working? And then one person would wind up, separating from the group and doing most of the assignment themselves. Yeah, so when you're working on, group projects, there tends to be a lot of distraction, whereas if you're working by yourself, if you don't separate your workspace from this is where I sit down to watch TV and goof around on the internet space, then, not as many distractions. And that's a discussion for a completely different show on, what's the best way to work from home. But one of the best practices for people that work at home or work from home is to have designated workspace that is completely separate from this is where I lounge around in my pajamas watching Netflix space. Number 3, intelligent people who spend time alone tend to be more creative. And again, I'm throwing the intelligent and spend time alone together, even though the headline of this article has them separated of people who spend time alone are more intelligent. Well, no, intelligent people who spend time alone tend to fill in the blank. But that's not as catchy of a clickbait title now, is it? No, it's not. Number 3, again, more creative people who enjoy spending time alone with themselves have more time to think about themselves and what they really like. As a result of this, brainstorming naturally occurs, and they have the urge to get creative. What's more, because these people are creating things that are inspired by other things they enjoy, the final work usually turns out grade A. They also tend to be calm and more peaceful. I'll touch on the last ones here in a moment on Peace, Love, and Liberty Radio.
It is the year 91,001 BCE. Witness humanity's origins in Hyperchronius, a classic role-playing game for Windows PCs, with a story like no other game before. A liberty-oriented experience that is not to be missed. Go to zog.ninja to get your copy of Hyperchronius today. Use the code FPP to get $1 off. Hyperchronius, zog.ninja, code FPP.
You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and Numery supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $3 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's FANS.fppradio.com.
This is Will Coley of the Call to Freedom, and you're listening to Darryl W. Perry on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio.
Welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. Before going over the final couple of things from this article about some of the traits of intelligent people who spend more time alone, I want to tell you about somebody who, well, I don't really know if he spends time alone or not, but one thing that I do know is that he likes to sell people gold and silver. Of course, I'm talking about Tim Fry from Roberts & Roberts Brokerage. The company has been around for well over 40 years, and during that time, they've been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver, also platinum and palladium. Yeah, you heard that right, buying and selling. So you need to liquidate some of your precious metal holdings. They can help. You want to accumulate some precious metals, they can help. And they also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase order, or rather the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in digital currency. So call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760. That's 800-874-9760, or visit online at rrbi.co. Jumping back into the article here and just quickly going over these last three. Again, intelligent people who spend time alone tend to be more calm and peaceful. They're excellent problem solvers, which actually touches on number 2 and 3 of creative and productive. Again, partly because loners spend so much more time thinking about what's happening in their lives, the brainstorming comes naturally and frequently. They're able to discover solutions for both significant and nagging problems. Number 6, they're independent. And even though the headline here says 6 reasons, they've got some more. So let me speed through these. They're good writers and storytellers. They enjoy doing what movie stars aspire to do. There's a quote from Orlando Bloom that says, "When you work in such a surreal environment as movies, just listening to some tunes or hanging with friends is what you crave, even time alone." Number 9, they think comprehensively and extensively. Number 10, they're usually more closely connected to the environment. That seems to be a bit of a stretch. And number 11, they value experience and genuine knowledge over entertainment. Now, that's not to say that you can't be entertained while having an experience and getting genuine knowledge. As always, the links will be in the show notes. And remember, every Friday, when you send them to me, I answer your questions. So send those over using the anonymous, if you want it to be anonymous, contact form, ama.fppradio.com.
The podcasts of FPP Radio are licensed under Copy Heart. We believe that copying is a form of flattery and do not abide by the copyright laws. Those laws serve to restrict the flow of ideas which no one can really own. Copying is an act of love. Love is not subject to law. If you enjoy the show, consider joining the Fans program and get perks like ad-free versions of Peace, Love, Liberty Radio and FPP Radio News, and also get a copy of the monthly newspaper FPP News. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com.